what a way to continue on here, season 4 of the Monday Nyquil Podcast Show. LunasLore, thank you so much for being here in the hot seat of the Monday Nyquil Podcast Show. How the heck are you, my friend?
I am good. I'm very excited to be here.
As,
I'm excited to be talking and chilling.
yeah, right. Which is what more kind of like we normally do when we stream and stuff. As us streamers, we do like a lot of talking sometimes. I don't know if we end up doing like maybe just chatting for like 30 minutes to an hour, maybe 2 to 3 hours. It really all depends on the vibes, right? But it's a whole different scenario when you're actually here talking through in a podcast episode. Has this something you've been kind of wanting, itching to do for quite some time, to actually just sit down and maybe talk about more about who you are and stuff?
Yeah, all the time. I always like wonder if I should do like a just chatting stream and just talk for hours because I can talk a lot, but sometimes I'm just scared of like the talking dying down and I'm like, I don't know what to say. Like what am I supposed to do?
Right, right.
So I'm definitely excited to talk more about myself outside of stream especially too.
Yeah, this is the part where you can be like, you know what? I'm going to be selfish today. This is my
Yeah.
time. So we'll get out of here.
This
This
is
is my
my opportunity to speak.
Speaking of opportunities, my goodness, I couldn't help but notice that over on your Channel Point Redemptions, the opportunity people that can, while they're watching someone stream like yourself, they can collect channel points and redeem them for certain, objectives that they want to do for your channel stream. But in particular with yours, I've only encountered maybe a handful of other streamers having like, maybe like 15 redemption points, maybe 20, but I counted a total of 48 different options over on your end. How the heck did you come up with 48 different options for people to choose from sound effects, for actually things for you to do? How did that all come about, dude?
Yeah, I actually noticed that also, and I thought about like deleting. So I was like, maybe I'm doing too much. Am I the problem? I yeah, I have a lot. A lot of them are blurps, whatever that extension is
Sure.
for sounds. So I added a lot of those. I maxed those out, and that was not enough. So I went to another website and I added 10 more, and then I maxed out all of Twitch's options,
Oh my god.
redeems. And I just want everyone to have something as an option because not everything is everyone's cup of tea.
Uh-huh.
So I just want everyone to have the ability. Like, if you hate 40 of my redeems, as long as you like one, that is okay with me. But that's why I have them all there so that everyone has a bit of options.
No, that's fair enough, because a lot of times people do seem to be overwhelming when it comes to either joining in someone's chat or someone's stream in general. If there's a lot of bit going on, one might find it to where like they might end up opting out or whatnot.
Mhm.
Over on your end of the spectrum, has there ever been sometimes where people do actually end up giving you this criticism about how, you know what, maybe you're a little bit too much for me, or do you find yourself like, you know what, I'm just me being me here?
Um, I don't know if that's happened in stream. It's happened a lot in real life.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's happened a lot in real life, but not in the stream that I've noticed at least. Because I feel like most of the time, if people like if I'm being too much or whatever, they'll
Mhm.
just usually leave stream. I very rarely get haters unless it's like somebody that was in my game or something like that, just
Right.
wanting to talk shit for no reason type of deal. But besides that, I mean, I don't know. I
No,
don't know if people think I'm too much.
no, because I find it to where when I tune into your stream sometimes where there could be some type of the hiccups where, like, you know what, maybe there's a lot going on and one has to opt out. Over on my end, from what I've seen, is that there is a lot going for a lot of people. Like, if you want to switch up some of the games, because a lot of times we'll find yourself playing some Fortnite, Valorant, or even some different third-party games. But how is it to almost like keep the attention span of people? Because nowadays, now that the pandemic has simmered down, a lot of people are actually going out and about and not being over on Twitch anymore, including streamers as well. What do you think for yourself is keeping people that are like basically keeping them entertained and keeping them into your channel and viewing while you're streaming live?
Hmm, that's a that's a good question.
I know. I got one. I got the stumbled one already this early. Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I always, because a lot of people are like, you have to find your niche and just kind of focus on that when you're streaming.
Hmm.
But I feel like I don't have a lot of specific like niches that I can stay in my lane,
Right.
which
Right.
is
Right.
why I'm a variety streamer to begin with.
Hmm.
So I'm always bouncing around all over the place. And I
Yeah.
usually just kind of rely on like the idea that people are gonna come in and 90% of them might not like me and 10% of them might like me and they'll stay no matter what game I'm playing.
Yeah.
Because I usually, not all the time,
Okay.
I'm a human, but I usually try to keep the same energy with everything I'm doing no matter what the game is.
Right.
So like I'm always trying to be hype. I'm always loud for starters. And and I just try to keep that consistency with
Yeah.
myself because my channel is always changing like constantly.
No, I
I don't
mean, and
know.
that's great that you always have the not being afraid to change things up, to switch things around. There is one thing that I did want to bring up too with that is that you did mention about how, like, keeping the vibes, a little bit higher than usual, or like, you're being a lot like basically louder than a lot more than other streamer individuals that
And that's
actually
not
are.
on purpose.
No, right, exactly. But is that something where, like, it's like a coping mechanism for yourself to, keep yourself in the mindset of like, I am gonna, like, just, be on the top of my A game for the stream, and if not, then like it might almost like bring the vibes down on yourself. Like, have you ever had that situation where you kind of find yourself that if I'm not at this part of the hypeness of the stream, then I'm just seeing this as a failure.
Yeah. So I definitely am like my worst enemy when it comes to things like that.
Hmm.
Because if it's like I can't meet the energy that I usually project for stream,
Yeah.
sometimes I'll literally cancel stream because I'll just be like, "Hey guys, I'm not feeling good," because I can't get myself up to that level
Hmm.
to stream sometimes.
Right.
Because I mean, I'm normally a loud person. I'm normally like hype all the time, but it gets to a certain level where it almost is like burnout where I'm
Uh-huh.
just too hype all the time. I just need a minute to not be hype and I need a break. But even then, I try to stream most of the time and I'm usually just honest about it. I
Hmm.
just try to be nice and clear about, like, hey, it's just going to be a chill stream. We'll just be vibing because I still want to be with my community and with my people.
Right.
So,
And I'm pretty sure like the whole canceling part might kind of like almost seem a little devastating because for me, from my perspective, where if I were to cancel stream, and rarely do I ever, I almost feel like it's a bit of a loss because you have people that actually do end up taking the time out of the day to be like, you know what, for this amount of time, I'll actually tune into this person's stream and stuff. Does it ever have that? Do you ever have that guilt trip once you guys almost maybe possibly last minute cancel stream?
yeah, it's always like a cycle and a battle with myself,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not like whether or not I almost deserve to cancel stream
Oh
because I
man.
don't want to let people down.
Uh huh.
I don't want to let myself down because I have expectations for myself as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then um I think usually when I do end up canceling stream, I try to be more active in other people's streams, almost to make up for like
Mm-hmm.
not being out there myself
Right.
sometimes. But that way, like I'm still participating, I'm still helping out other streamers by being active in their chat and hanging out. But it's definitely a battle all the time, whether or not I should even stream
No,
sometimes.
I
Like,
I completely understand. Even like the not even the battle also as well as networking too. I mean, like how you mentioned about like joining people's streams and maybe participating either in chat or even in their actual gameplays and stuff. Do you find it very difficult to almost like put yourself out there and networking with other people, or you just want to have the almost like the self conscious of like, you know what, I'm gonna have people come on by no matter what, and I don't really need to go out there and put myself, out there to the masses. I'm good from where I'm at.
no, I definitely feel the need to network all the time. And I noticed that I'm on social media a lot more because of that. Like
Hmm.
once it finally clicked that like I kind of need to network if I'm gonna get bigger in some way on
Yeah.
streaming. But that is definitely something that's way out of my comfort zone. It's very hard for me to do sometimes
Hmm.
because I just don't. Sometimes I feel like I don't know how to talk to people and I don't know how to interact with them. And I'm
Hmm.
also very uh anxious about the way people perceive me.
Uh,
And so I have that's why I have a hard time trying to engage with people sometimes.
hmm.
And usually it works out for the better. And my that's just all my anxiety talking
Right.
that is making me think the opposite, but it's very hard, but I love doing it. I've met so many people doing it that like that's the thing that keeps me going, I think, and
No,
continuing to network.
and you're absolutely right. Even if even what do you call it, when that actual networking does work and you bring people over the streams. I mean, like, I find every now and then I'll have the use of like liquid courage because like, as you mentioned, the anxiety part, the just being anxious about like the feedback you might get from some people. I do sometimes, even though I'm 3 years into the streaming career, still find it difficult sometimes to hit the go live button because um the self sabotage, as you mentioned, about how maybe I'm not really up to my A game today, or maybe I do need some liquid courage to help me out. Do you have any certain methods where you prepare yourself before you hit the go live button, or like, you know what, it's just like, let me just hit this and we'll see how this goes?
I So normally I have a little ritual before stream where like the 30 minutes before stream, I like set up my drinks and snacks for stream so I don't have to get up as often.
Yeah.
And then I put on the most hype playlist I can find on Spotify, and I
Okay.
literally like will dance in my bathroom doing my makeup and like getting ready for stream just so that I can hype myself up, because if I hype myself up enough,
Yeah, yeah.
then I'm not nervous anymore. And I think I only get nervous in times where like talking falls flat and I'm like, oh, the stream's a little quiet. Maybe I should say something, but I'm like, I don't know what to say. It's a little difficult in times like that. But generally speaking, I I only on like low days, I feel like emotional wise,
Hmm.
only on low days I feel the need to either do a ritual or cancel or something like that. We
Right.
we play it minute by minute. We take it slow.
No, that's good. That's always great to play it safe that way. I find it hard that where to have that certain ritual to prepare yourself. Sometimes people, maybe if when they're about to go hit the live button, they probably only had like maybe 15 minutes to prepare. Maybe they just got off of work or came from somewhere else to fulfill an obligation, and coming back and then just having things all set up right off from the get go, and hopefully things work out for the best. And for you, that's really cool and encouraging. That, you know what, like, to almost having to force yourself make that time for that ritual, for that setup, maybe a pre-show before the pre-show, like, have
Yeah,
yourself
exactly.
that like courage, have yourself some doll yourself up even more, and then like just listen to some music a lot and stuff. And that really does help out a lot. And so people do really need to take that notes of being able to put some extra time before hitting the go live button and to almost pump yourself up, because it does play well
Yeah,
into the mindset of psyching yourself up, be like, you know what, I got this and stuff. And so being able to push
yeah.
yourself, correct?
Yeah, even if it's like literally like one song, your favorite song in
Mm,
the world. For
yeah.
example, No Hands by Waka Flocka.
Oh,
That's
you,
my go-to.
yeah.
That's
Girl,
my
the way
go-to.
you move
So even if
it.
I'm like running late to stream and like
Yeah,
life and shit happens,
yeah.
like I will play a song and I'll just be sitting at my table like opening my Streamlabs, hyping myself up, because even like if I wasn't streaming, that's what I would do to lift my mood. Because
Ah.
sometimes like I get stuck in these moods and the only way to get out of them is by forcing myself to get out of them. And so
Mm-hmm.
like, is it actually a bad mood, or am I just having a bad moment and I don't
Mm.
want it to ruin stream? So I put the music on. So even if it's like 5 minutes, like take a breather, drink some water, dance it out, and do it.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. And then going back to those 48 different channel points, you can have those options of either between hydrating.
I'll dance with you.
Right. Yeah. It'll be between hydrating and like dancing the shuffle
Yeah.
song, man. And so like
Yeah.
these unique channel points that you have in there, integrated into your streams and stuff. I know there's a lot. It could be overwhelming at times, but having them like brought down to maybe half of them or whatnot could be great. But it's working out for you. Do you think there's something that you might want to integrate more, whether it's on stream or like on social media platforms, that do you think you should probably focus more on, or you think for how you are right now, going into breaking that 400 follower glass ceiling very, very soon is just the way you want to do it right now?
Um, I don't know. I think I I'm also working on a lot of things outside of streaming. So I
Oh,
think
okay.
what I have for me right now is what's working, at
Right.
least for now. Because I'm doing something right, because I'm getting closer and closer to my goals, and
Hmm.
I'm a lot farther than I thought I would be. So I definitely know there's room for improvement, which is why I'm always trying to watch other streamers and pay attention to their content. I'm
Hmm.
way more analytical of social media than I ever was before,
Hmm.
because it's actually a tool that I can use now.
Right.
So I'm paying attention to everything that all my other streamer friends are doing, everyone else is doing. and trying to tweak and pay attention to what I'm doing in order to always be better than I was yesterday.
Right. And
But
uh-huh.
even if that's like little changes or big changes, I'm like I said, I'm just trying to take it slow. I got a lot of other things going on, so
Yeah, because outside of life, like for streamers like yourself and I, like life does take a toll sometimes. Do you have like the definition between taking breaks from stream to taking a hiatus from stream?
um I don't I guess for myself personally, I feel
Hmm.
like it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Because like even if I were to take a break or a hiatus from stream, I would still be available on other social medias and probably doing other social medias like TikTok still.
Yeah.
But I if I were to take a break, it would be very short, like week, 2 weeks. It's usually a little vacation. Um, but a hiatus, I feel like is like we're heading into months territory for
Hmm.
me personally,
Hmm.
and that's a lot because like a lot can happen in like if you're gone for 2 months to your stream, to your connections, your networking, if you're not building them up and sticking with other social medias. So a lot can happen in 2 months because like even if you do this for fun, it's still a whole system. It runs on something. Even if
Right.
you do it for fun and taking a hiatus, like that system's slowly crumbling.
Hmm. And you're out of the
If
loop.
you're not keeping up with it, you're out of the loop. All your other streamer friends, like you don't know what's going on with them. They don't know what's going on with you. So I think it's a matter of staying connected is what would be the difference between breaks and hiatus.
Hmm. And
I've never actually taken a hiatus, I don't think, but I've taken a lot of breaks.
and that's good though, and that's and a lot of people shouldn't that are streamers or even content creators should have that normalized that it is okay to take breaks. You
Oh
have,
yeah,
if your community is willing to, put the full trust and believe in in what you do, then they should also believe in the fact that you need to deserve the breaks as well. And
yeah,
it's very important because having yourself almost forced into scheduling of like, you know what, I have to stream every Sunday, every Fridays or whatnot, and not a single break and stuff. And
oh, yeah.
from a personal perspective, for the first 2 years of streaming, I didn't take any breaks at all,
Oh
and
Jesus.
no breaks at all, no hiatuses and stuff. And so like the mental health aspect really caved in, where I was gone for at least 20 days, not knowing if I was going to come back or what to do with when I come back, when I come back, with what the streaming career will lead to in the future. Um,
Yeah.
is it more for yourself with these breaks for your mental health, or is it more of like, you know what, I just want to like live life outside and just do what I want to do before I come back into streaming?
A lot of the time it's mental health. I
Hmm.
feel like I try to balance. Sometimes I even like let streaming take over my social life. Like
Mm.
I go to the club and I watch people's streams. Like I don't care if I blend the two types of social lives
Uh-huh.
because that's fine with me, but it's definitely a lot more for mental health cuz like sometimes the dancing doesn't work. Sometimes it is a bad day and I can't get a grip on it.
Hmm.
But, mental health is a bumpy road. It's a lot of ups and downs. And that's something that I'm working on every day all the time. And sometimes the what I'm doing is not enough
Right.
for my mental health to be up, basically.
Hmm.
So yeah, it definitely tends to be a lot of breaks just to especially avoid burnout because I don't want to be so burnt out on streaming and playing video games that like I don't want to do it ever again.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
it would be a shame that like, or even disappointing, where like something that you love to use it almost as an escape, uh, be something that you don't want to do anymore because of you being burnt out and stuff.
Mhm.
What is it that you change differently for when it's outside of streaming in the perspective of mental health? Because when I do find streamers from time to time, they openly admit that they're going something mentally wise on their streams and stuff. You kind of tell that the vibes kind of like die down, or like it's going to be almost a depressing state at the moment, and they're not quite sure, or as a viewer you're not quite sure if you're going to actually, if they're going to bounce back from it, or they're just going to end the stream altogether. So I guess what I wanted to ask for on your perspective of the mental health wise, do you find it openly okay to talk about it on your stream in general, or is it more like, you know what, I just want to leave that out and then if I feel the need to talk about it, I'll bring it up. But more than often than not, I won't.
I definitely think it's something that's okay to talk about.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't really go into details, but I'll usually just be like, "Hey, I'm having a really bad time," and streaming usually picks me up
Hmm.
because I get to talk to people and interact, and that's what makes me feel good. So I I don't really go into details about my own personal mental health,
Yeah.
honestly.
Hmm.
But besides as far as explaining the mood that I'm in without all of the details of my mental shit, because I
Yeah.
think there needs to be a boundary between
Mm.
how much is too much. Like everyone didn't sign up to hear my trauma and my childhood story right off the bat. Like I don't know who's watching, I don't know who's comfortable with what. And so I don't want to cross those lines unintentionally or intentionally.
Yeah.
So I try to be very like honest and open without being too much.
No,
But
makes perfect sense though.
what are you gonna say?
No, it makes perfect sense because like it's more often than not you'll do see like streamers that do end up almost like blurring the lines of like being maybe too much and almost asking for the help that maybe a therapist would be best to have that help from, and not just like some random individuals, or if you know these individuals that like they're not suited for that kind of topics or like the help. But generally speaking, also for not only just yourself but for as a viewer, would you find it okay if someone were to come on by and talk about it? And I'm not talking about essentially like drama dumping, but like if you do take that moment to be like, hey, that's unfortunate, but hey, I'm over here to switch things around for you, or let's take a minute to talk about this. And that's almost like leading towards like the whole just chatting part too, because you did mention how maybe a just chatting stream would be best. Would a mental health type of aspect be in that ratio, or is it more like I'm not touching that subject at all?
Um, I definitely think that I would be willing to listen,
Hmm.
but I think I would also be clear like when it gets to be like too much.
Yeah.
And then I would probably try to move it out of stream, honestly, and just be like, if you need to talk to me, my DMs are open, but I'm not a therapist, and like I don't want to like give you any advice or tell you to do something and have that backfire on me. I definitely would be okay if someone came into my chat and needed to rant or talk to me or, you know, just let some things out. That is a-okay. I I think the hard part is trying to find the segue between like talking about it and then going back into it
Yeah.
because I usually just like say my piece and sometimes I'll pause the game and I'll stop and talk or I won't even pause. Like if I'm playing Fortnite, I'll be like, okay, I don't care if I die, it's fine. I'll just talk to chat for a minute. I'm
Yeah.
I'm okay with stopping my game and talking to chat for a minute and hanging out and trying to be as supportive as I can.
Hmm.
Um, and then I think there's like a moment where like it kind of like dies down and other people in chat usually will come up and say something. And that's when I'll like kind of just be like, okay, back to the game. And then I just try to be as reassuring and positive as I can to keep everyone's vibes high.
Right.
And that usually just leads into the game eventually.
Yeah.
Back to your regularly
Schedule
scheduled
program.
programming.
Well, that's good that you could like almost like have that segue to actually go back to either whatever it is that you were doing. There are some individuals, or maybe a individual, that may take that almost maybe too much of stepping up the boundaries and stuff. I know of recent, if those are not familiar with Luna's story or stories over on her TikTok channel. There maybe has been a certain individual or two, or I don't know how many of that have been trying to like overstep their boundaries and almost like maybe be too over like I don't know, pressuring you to do things or to talk to them or acknowledge them and stuff. Take me to those stories where it's that I want to say they've made you very very uncomfortable. Where it's just what there's things you need to document and maybe put out there out in the open, because this is almost a perfect opportunity to not only from what I've seen, that because of you actually telling these stories, you may have actually helped somebody out that might be going through it something maybe worse than this and stuff. So if you can elaborate some more, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, I actually, I think it was right after I became affiliate. So I
Hmm.
was still like a very small baby streamer. And I was playing my favorite game. It was my comfort game. My comfort game to help me stream and feel comfortable doing it and being in front of the camera and in front of all
Hmm.
these people. And one of the streams, I had this guy come in and he was at first like normal chatter, like, hi, how are you, what's this game about, oh, this seems pretty cool, what other games do you play, type of deal, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Normal chatting. But then it started to get into like he was commenting on my body, like the clothes I was wearing, and he asked me if I was single, and I was like, no, we're not doing that. You're a random person online. I'm playing video games in my bedroom.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and he was like, "Oh, like that's okay. Like I'll show you a real man. Leave him, get with me. We can play games. Let me add you on Snap." And it was just like all in the span of 10 minutes, like rapid fire in my chat. And I had like this pit in my stomach because I was like, I am so uncomfortable. But
Hmm.
like I almost didn't have the courage to ban him because I don't want to be that guy that has to do that,
Right.
or like, but sometimes it needs to be done. And one of my mods came in and banned him,
Hmm.
and a couple minutes later he came back with another account
God.
that was named Luna's Lore is mine.
Oh my god.
Yes. Luna,
Oh
who
my
are
god.
you? And he basically said like, he was like, come on baby, like let me show you a real man. And like, what's that? So we banned him again, obviously.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And then he had another account, and basically it was along the same lines. Like it was like,
Oh my god.
what's it called? Luna's Lore, like I love you, or something stupid like that. Like that, he was naming his names to be creepy for some reason. And this is like maybe like 30 minutes of interaction. Like
Sure,
this
sure,
man was
sure.
not in my chat for long at all.
Hmm.
And it was so uncomfortable. And having to ban him sucked. And it was just like, why did you have to turn something that could have been good into like a weird interaction? Even if you were trolling and you weren't serious, you made me uncomfortable for no reason.
Hmm.
Like I was having fun playing video games, talking with other people, and I had this person come in and ruin it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um like I joke about it now because like thinking about it, I'm like, that is so like crazy. What a weirdo.
Yeah.
um, and yeah, I made TikToks about them just to basically kind of express how bizarre and crazy it was. But it's not the only interaction that I've
Hmm.
ever had, and I'm sure it's not the only interaction that many of other women streamers have had and other streamers in general have had, because some people are just weird and they feel the need to troll or be haters or make you uncomfortable.
Yeah,
But
and that's just on the streaming perspective. Like,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure social media DMs might be something crazy that like either you've ran into it, I just already like, the tea is piping with this. Oh my god.
I can't disclose that.
No, no, no. I'm just saying like you've probably
No,
seen a
but
lot
yes,
worse.
absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
And I for one have told or have been told some female friendos of mine that it does get pretty raunchy when of course you have some individuals that you don't even know. You have like it's like select pictures that are sent to you and stuff, and it's
Yeah.
just like, dude, what are you fucking doing? What are you doing?
Yeah. Like literally this guy sent me a whole like paragraph in my chat like expressing how much he loved me and wanted to caress my body and we were meant to be together. And we banned him again, and a year and like 4 months later,
Hmm.
he sent an unban request talking about how he was like, let's just start over. I'll be your side man and sneak into your house
Oh my god,
when he's not there.
this is the same
And I
guy?
was like, yes, the
What
same
the
guy. A year and a half. Imagine me living in his mind rent free
rent free?
for
Oh my.
years. And I was like, this is, and I didn't know how to look at my unban request. So I just found
Right.
this like a year and a half, if not more, later
Uh-huh.
from when he first got banned.
Uh-huh.
And this man was like, actually, you know what? I want to go harass her one more time.
God damn.
What would you do if I unbanned you, huh? What would you do? I'm talking to you.
Oh shit. Anywho, no, but like that's just us as streamers that are they experience that type of scenarios and stuff.
Mhm.
Imagine celebrities every
go one
single
way.
day, dude. Yeah. It goes the same ways, and even worse for them too. Like you'll have actual stalkers that go by their houses and stuff like that. It gets pretty crazy.
It's
So,
scary because you never know what's real and what's not.
mm-hmm,
You're like, I don't know if this person talking in my chat is someone across the street and knows that I live here. Like,
mm-hmm,
the lines can be very blurred very fast, and especially as a streamer on this side, like I never know what's real and I don't know what's not. So I don't know if they're being serious or I don't know if they're joking or mocking me. Either way, I'm uncomfortable.
yeah. So then with that, I guess bringing up to that subject, I want to ask you how important it is for one to keep their private life private, or to keep almost like what certain boundaries of not to talk about, because there are streamers that I know, they have little ones that they're roaming around and stuff, and they sometimes are on camera, or maybe they're streaming off from their work sometimes, and they don't realize that the fact that people can actually keep tabs of what you're doing, of what you do, where you go. Maybe you're streaming IRL streams, and they might know a certain street and stuff. Like, what is it to you that certain boundaries of the private life people shouldn't really talk about in your perspective?
For me personally, I try as little as possible to associate like my real name with anything or my real location or area with anything. Like I usually just tell people time zone
Mm-hmm.
because that's a wide range.
Very much.
Except, some people who I know personally,
Mm-hmm.
but um, kids are a no go. Like my sister wanted to be on stream with me, but she's under 18, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm not. If you want to be on camera, you can wear a hat over your face. It's like I'm not. I don't. I mean, if it's an accident, it's an accident. I just don't feel comfortable doing that because, like, I know that there can be. Maybe this is like a little paranoia in me, but
No.
I know there can be some really crazy people out there that will like search up like every little detail of every little frame in your stream and try to look and deep dive into your life, and all it takes is like one slip up or one piece of information that's given for them to like find out a
Mm-hmm.
lot about me, about anybody online.
Sure.
And if someone knows how to do it, it can be very easy, and that's when it heads into dangerous territory.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can share as little as possible or be at least a little bit more conscious to make it harder for creepy people,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm gonna do that. But some people think that like that's okay, and that's fine. If I just think being aware of consequences is also important
Yeah.
when drawing those boundaries. So like these are my boundaries, and I'm aware of the consequences of what I'm doing at all times.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to share your name or kids' faces and things like that, just understand that there are consequences to doing those things as well.
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever have my little one on stream with me for quite some time. She's still young, doesn't know like the ins and outs of streaming or basically
Mhm.
the internet in general. You know what I mean? We have her staying away from TikTok and YouTube because it's just like you never know what you end up running into.
Yeah.
For the streams in general of like as a content creator, it's very important. Like myself, I Slowpoke Felitos go by the YouTube the Twitch channel is Slowpoke Felitos. Here on
Mhm.
YouTube, same thing as well. Slowpoke Felitos. People know me on my DMs as Slowpoke Felitos. Um, it's always important to as well, if you can, and if you can memorize, to create an alias for your alias name. So you have your
Oh,
persona. So you have my persona being Slowpoke Felitos, and then my alias name being John Mendez. For the longest time, it's always been John Mendez.
wait, that's cool.
Right. And then of course the real name just stays basically in the background. It doesn't
Mhm.
you don't bring that up in the surface or nothing. I've made sure if we have family members that come on by, hey, try not to use my real name. If you want to use an alias name,
Mhm.
this is it. And then if you want to go by the shorthand of Slowpoke or Lumina, you know what I mean? Those shorthand names, that's totally fine. I just want to put that out there in case you do end up like figuring out, you know what, like I kind of want to bring somewhat of a name or something close to my name. Which, by the way, John Mendes is nowhere near close of what my real name is like that. But
Yeah.
it's just really important that if you want to look, I guess, professional, like in front of if you're going into like maybe a huge content creator, or like if you're having meetings with like groups of people that you kind of want to you are friends with, but you don't want to like you know,
Mm-hmm.
give too much details, that's kind of one way you could probably end up, putting yourself out there just a little bit
Okay.
more of the perspective of creating an alias name and stuff. So if that never came up to be, Luna, where creating an alias name could be really important, and that could even be for your siblings too. Maybe they accidentally walk in by, you're like, oh, you're going to be going by Dingus. That's your name for
Yeah.
the.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good idea. I usually
Absolutely.
just tell people my name is Luna, honestly.
That's fine too. It's just more of like, like, keep more yourself at ease, that like, you know what, you'd rather have that disclosed information that private, and then it's just like, that's going to be it. I don't want anybody bugging me about real names or freaking where I'm at
Yeah.
and stuff. So that's really important that you bring up about, like, not giving away what state you're from, or like what part of of where you're at in the States, or even like in other else parts of the world and stuff. You just give a certain estimated like a time zone, and then that's it. That's all. That's a beautiful way to put things around in perspective of, like, you know what, if someone were to ask you, hey, where are you from? Oh, from the East Coast. And then just that's let it be that.
Yep.
So it's good. I really appreciate that taking the safety precautions, because you just never know who's gonna be one.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh man, because there are also along with this, the criticisms of people that may come by to, I don't know, just bring the moods down, or like how you mentioned about like these creepers in general that come on by and try to like almost like drive the stream into like something else, that maybe taking a nosedive of like not being a perfect stream, and you might want to end it early, because that's what they want too. They want to actually end up like not wanting for you to succeed in what you're doing in the platform and stuff. What do you think is something that for yourself, in your opinion, where you might have someone that's going into streaming that may find it difficult to deflect these
Mhm.
critics that come on by thinking they can do better, or like that they should quit all in general?
Okay. All right, let me tackle the deflecting first
Get it.
because I can't even do that.
Oh.
Sometimes it's really hard for me to deflect because I've had like some people come in my stream just to talk shit and comment about how I'm a really small streamer and things
Mm.
like that. Um, and in the moment, it feels awful. It feels awful because like that's what they want you to feel, and it's very easy when you're in front of a camera trying to save face. You can only say and do so much to save face and deflect from what they're saying because like everyone else read what they said too. And now you're thinking, does everyone else feel the same way? Does everyone else think like even if it's not like a lot of people, everyone matters. And like as the streamer, it's really hard to deflect. But I think it's important that like if you stopped streaming or if you didn't keep going and you gave up on doing it, like then they succeeded and they won in what they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do, which was put you down and smush your dreams.
Yup.
But you can't let them do that. Like, who are they? Like, you don't even know these people.
Who are you people?
Who are you? like, it's I've had a couple streams where like I tried to keep the vibes high for even a little bit after I had banned or timed him out from the chat after saying something.
Sure.
And afterwards I was like, you know what guys, I can't do it. Like I'm not feeling it anymore.
Yeah.
And I tried to keep it high, I tried to keep going, but I can't. And so I think I'm just gonna end because I don't want you guys to suffer because I can't get out of my funk basically after
Mm-hmm.
somebody said some rude shit to me. So it's hard and it's always going to happen. Like people are always going to be coming in your chat saying shit. Sometimes you'll be able to deflect, sometimes you won't be able to. And I think that's something that with time it gets a lot easier.
Yeah.
But you need to give it time. It's not going to be right off the bat. When it comes to deflecting, I think it's really important that you have really good mods that you trust. And having
Mm-hmm.
a mod in there at all times is really important because a lot of the time they'll see the comments before you do and get rid of
Right.
them.
Mm-hmm.
And that is like that is good mod behavior because if I
Yeah.
don't even see it, I can't feel nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like
Mm-hmm.
that's an important thing. Always have someone in there. I don't care if it's your mom or your brother or your freaking husband. Get their ass in the chat, watching and protecting you, please. That's important. Also, sometimes I'm not even gonna lie, like when I can't tell if they're like trolling or being actually mean to me,
Sure.
I lean into it. Like they'll come in here and be like, "Why are you playing this game? You're a piece of shit." I'm like, "You know what? I am a piece of shit. You're right. You're right. If I agree with everything they say, they can't say anything to me because they're like, well, all right. Yeah, you
Yeah.
are a piece of shit."
You're like, I am sure. I am drugs. Now what? What you gonna
Yes.
do?
Like there are some redeems in there
Uh-huh.
that are sound redeems where it's like there's the yum yum trash, I am trash. And then there's, oh brother, this guy stinks. I put that in there so that people can make fun of me on purpose.
Purposely. Okay.
So that I mean if I'm in charge, you can't hurt me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what you have to remember is that you're in charge of your stream. They're just a person observing you. You are the boss. Fire them.
You boss bitch.
Literally. Um, yeah, and so sometimes that's something that I do. And like I said, sometimes I can't do it, but like even doing something like cathartic, like I made a TikTok about it.
Okay.
I made a TikTok about someone that like that it was a stream that I had to end because I couldn't keep my vibes high. But I
Oh,
was like,
okay.
you know what? Let me use this to my advantage because it was a
Mm.
shitty situation. It
Okay.
might have messed up my stream, and I can make other content with it. I can share my piece
Mm.
and it feels very cathartic. It's almost like ranting to everybody about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another way that I do it. But yeah, I mean,
That's a way to
roll with
turn a
the
negative to
punches.
a positive, man.
Yeah,
That's really
exactly.
creative, man. I know for a fact if I were to like just quit like a stream in general, I'll be like ending it early. I'll be like, all right, let's just forget about that stream and let's continue. Let's move on to the next thing and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
would have never have thought of you know what making that negative aspect of like having to end stream early and turning it into a positive by creating content with that. That is
Hmm.
pretty smart, dude. That's
Hmm.
crazy.
It kind of blew up.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's like, wow, haters gonna hate.
Yeah,
And
man.
you know what? I'm still winning.
Exactly right. You're like they broke. I'm up.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, it's funny that you mentioned about your husband, which I kind of wanted to dive into, because you did say that he actually watches your streams and helps you out with the modding and stuff too as well. How easy or maybe difficult for your hubby to actually partake in your streams? Is it getting into his me time, or does he actually really does have the supporting system of being able to help you out while you're streaming live and stuff?
It's hard because usually like he's trying to have like me time at the same time that I'm streaming because like streaming is my me time. Like this is what I do. But I usually have like a couple of mods that pop in and out, but he's usually always there lurking.
Yeah.
Um and we've it's been tough sometimes because there have been some things where like I know he was lurking, but he was like playing his video games and someone said something and it turned into a whole thing and I was like all you
Mm.
had like you weren't paying attention and now I had to suffer the consequences basically. But I mean I'm understanding because like that's his time too and that's why I have other mods as well. I think he's really supportive. He makes it very easy to stream all the time and do all these things and all I have to do is let him know what's happening and we just talk about everything. So it's very easy most of the time,
It's
except when there's trolls. But
right, and
oh,
it's
scared the shit out of me. Sorry. Go away. We're still talking. Get out of here.
talking shit about you.
He
Good
said
shit.
he come over here like, what are you
None,
talking about?
Nani? Talking about you. He heard his ears turn red or
Yeah, what?
felt it. Huh?
Yeah.
Huh? Huh?
Oh,
And that's the key. Communication, right? Being
yes.
able to communicate with your partner, be like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna be doing X, Y, and Z, and it should all be fine and dandy as long as it doesn't interrupt with your guys' time. You being a streamer, does that almost take more time and effort away from your soul? Not also just your social life, but then with your personal life, with your significant other. Has it during your streaming career? Has it ever affected that personal aspect, or has it been kind of been fine and dandy as you mentioned?
I mean, I guess there have been times. So, like, one of the things that happens more often than not,
Mm-hmm.
especially on the weekends, is like, I'll be like, okay, I'll be in bed at 11 p.m. or midnight. Next
Mm.
thing I know, it's almost 4 a.m. and he's dead asleep and pissed off because I never came to bed, which is understandable. But sometimes I just get so into the vibes, and that's like the only thing that kind of really like just is tension, I guess.
Right.
But for the most part, like I definitely know that sometimes it can cut into our time. Like we find ourselves sometimes planning things around my streams instead
Hmm.
of like canceling my streams or doing something, because like he knows and supports that like I'm serious about this and this is something that I really want to be doing.
Yeah.
And so we always try to just make it work around my streams, and when we can't, I'll cancel my stream. But like I want that to be like a last resort because I am serious about streaming. I do enjoy this, and he understands that, and so like he doesn't want to take that away from me. And
Hmm.
so we always try to make it work. We always do something, figure it out, even if like we're staying up an hour later or something stupid. So
Right. And then
we try our best.
you have to find that compromise also too,
Yeah.
because it is really important that I'll use myself as an example. I am a college dropout. I don't have a 9 to 5 job. I mean, sure, I have a full-time job, but it barely gets me by, or barely, to put food on the table for my little one and support myself, to a certain extent. When it comes to streaming, I almost put this in the perspective of I treat this as my college, and to be the Twitch partner or be just a successful streamer is basically getting that diploma.
Hmm.
Um, because you put countless hours of studying with networking, you put countless hours in studying equivalent to streaming and figuring out what your niche is or what your demographic is going to be, or who is your audience and who you're going to be gravitating towards and such. It is really important. So I am really glad that you take this very seriously when it comes to streaming. You did say you're a small streamer. I mean, you're about to hit 400 followers,
I
anytime
know.
soon. Um, to me, that's not even small. And
I know.
I'm not joking too. Like, I know we've just hit 1,000 followers a couple months ago, but to me, this is something really really special that you have, because who in the right mind is going to be giving you these 300 something followers?
Yeah.
Nobody. You've earned this. You've actually taken the time to craft it over a couple of 12-hour streams. I'm not sure if you've done 24 hours, but I've seen a couple where like you've done 12-hour streams and stuff. Do you integrate those every so often, or do you milk them as much as you can when you do happen to have the time for 12 hours of long streams for yourself?
Um, I I try to do those honestly, like as little as possible, with like as like a reward almost.
Mm-hmm.
I think like I really wanted to do a charity stream, and I think I had just hit 300 followers, or I was about to hit 300 followers, and so I was like, okay, I'll do a 24-hour stream
Mm-hmm.
and I'll see if I can hit these 300 followers, but I'll make it a charity stream.
Right.
And so I had incentives, and that 24 hours took a lot out of me, but it was so much fun. I made over 300 followers. I had so many subs. I went way over my donation goal. And like we literally hit everything, every stop that I had put in goals, we
Right.
hit
Right. Right. Right.
everything. And it
Oh.
felt so good. And so I it would be nice if I could do those more often and hang out, but also like if I do them so often, then it wouldn't be as exciting as if I did it once in a while. And
Right.
especially because it's so taxing, like it's not even worth it to do a whole 24 hours, or even 12 hours sometimes can be taxing. I think sometimes when I get so lost in the game, I easily do like 6 or 9 hour streams. Like, but that's like me getting so lost in the game and I'm having way too much fun with everyone I'm playing with. Then
Yeah.
I really do be streaming for so long sometimes. And like if it's easy and fun, like that's fine. But I don't intentionally plan those for the most part. But
Yeah.
yeah.
As you did mention, they can be kind of taxing, very and
Hmm.
exhausting, and like you kind of want to
Yeah.
make those as a make them feel special, because if you keep doing 12 hours every month or two or so, it's just like you're I don't know, you're gonna tire
All
your
right.
people out. It's like, all right, I'll catch the next 12-hour stream
Okay.
next month. Yeah, yeah, right, exactly,
We're
exactly.
doing it next week. I'll see you later.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I hear you. I guess when you mentioned about the donations and subscriptions and stuff, has the mentality of yours, because you did say about taking, streaming seriously, has your, I guess, your plans, or even like as you taking streaming serious, have you changed the mindset of yourself to turn this into somewhat of a business, or is it still kind of like a hobby of choice that you like to stay as for a while?
I think right now I'm in a place where I'm trying to figure out a balance of both.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things I learned while I was in college is to always look at myself as a business.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I mean essentially as a streamer, what I am doing is selling myself. I'm selling myself to other people and hoping that they like and engage with me and we build a community together.
Right.
And I think like the hard part that comes along with being a business is the monetization because I try to be very aware of things like I'm not in this for the money. I'm not trying to do this to get rich quick or like anything like that. I've made so many friends and that's way more worth than any money that I've ever made. And if I can do things like charity streams instead and make a difference, like that would be so much better.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely in a place where I'm trying to balance like this is fun and a hobby, but also like in order to grow, I do need to present myself like a business and try to sell myself to other people and make those connections and network.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what businesses do.
They do be
So like
networking.
but yeah, and so it's trying to find like making sure I'm staying in this balance and not looking at one over the other and making sure that it works for growth. As long as it's working for growth, I'm gonna do what I do. I already have a perception of some other platforms and
Mm.
I think that morally is more important than if I were to be making more money.
Uh-huh.
Like one of the things that my uncle taught me before I went to college
Sure.
was he really stamped in that this idea that money is just like an idea. It's just a construct. It's there's always ways to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I shouldn't have to sacrifice my morals or ethics because I want more money. There are other ways of making money. There are other ways of doing things and going about things. And money is something that I stress over and have so much anxiety over constantly.
Sure.
And so like if money was more important than anything else, yeah, I probably would have switched platforms just to see what it was all about, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But that's I've already built my community. I already have my people over here. I'm growing every day. There's no point in starting. I might branch out into some things like YouTube just to see if I can get, traction between the two platforms. Um to use them to help grow everywhere and reach more people because every platform has a different audience. But no, the I no.
Your morals are more important.
Yes,
That
morals
is,
are more important.
I really respect that very much. So, from what you're doing right now, Luda, I really, here are my flowers to you. Like, you think that you're a small streamer, but I think you're big time right now in the sense of like your production value, the fact that even though maybe say sometimes you get doing a little inebriated here and there, but you control yourself because that's who you are, and you like to present yourself as very very outspoken, very loud, but still being able to have the engagement, because when you have people come by your streams and stuff, you have that attention span to focus on them too while gaming too, maybe not even caring about winning or losing, which is a big plus here on streaming because people do get too carried away when they game, and then maybe they forget about the chat, and maybe they forget about the people they have on Discord or something like that. And so it's very very refreshing to have another individual like yourself that is all about not just the gaming perspective, but the actual being able to network with the friendships that you have along the way that you're meeting. So Luna, I really appreciate you very very much for just you being you, and that this is just only the beginning. You know what I mean?
No.
Do you
It's
know
so
what I mean?
exciting. It's so exciting.
Yeah, it's very, very exciting. So, Luna,
Yeah.
I want to give this time to give you the floor to once again introduce yourself, where we can find you, and of course, at the time of this recording, what the rest of the goals for 2023 is for you. Take it away.
All right. Well, you already know, but I'm Luna. I'm a variety streamer. I stream on Sunday, Monday, Friday, and occasionally on Thursdays if I'm not too tired. But I play a lot of games and I love playing with my friends. I occasionally do get drunk. The vibes are always trying to be high. I'm super loud. So when I'm quiet, everyone always notices something is happening. But yeah, I just want to make more connections. My goals for the rest of the year, 2023. I My plan is to hit 500 followers by my birthday, which is September 12th.
Okay.
And I'm very close. I'm on track. I'm doing good. I really want to go to TwitchCon. I want to meet a lot of friends in person and get a chance to make more friends and connections there. I I think doing this, it 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 has really enhanced my want and need to make connections with other people and just like experiencing all these different people who have so many different stories to tell, and being able to do that is so important to me, and that's just what I want to do. That is one of my main goals. So yeah, that's me.
That is Luna's lore, Slowpokes. I thank you so much for being a part, Luna, of our House of Slowpokes. Always being appreciative whenever you tune in. Friday nights we catch plenty of L's in Fortnite. You,
Yep.
whenever you do pop up late in the night, the streams you make them very lively. If me personally talking to you about this, where well, not in the open now, I want to basically thank you for. There have been times where I do find myself late in the evening streams. It's kind of hard to like pull myself up where like maybe I'm not feeling the vibes anymore, or maybe I'm kind of, kind of winding down. You show up, boom. It's like an adrenaline shot in the veins of like, all right, I have some competition to compete with of like, talking smack, and then like, and then it's always the good smack. You know what I mean? It's never
Yeah,
like,
yeah, the good kind, not the bad kind.
yeah. So it's very, very encouraging that like, as you mentioned, you say that you're small, but you're big to me, dude. And so it's really awesome that you are continuing with your work. I encourage you to always reach out. For those that have been watching this episode, I encourage you to reach out to Luna if you're in need, especially for female streamers as well, or anybody that does experience with these individuals that try to come at you sideways. And Luna right here will properly correct put them in their place. Look at that. Oh, the 1-2 combo right there. And you can check out LunasLore over on the Twitch channel down below. Her screen down below. You have her Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Again, the TikTok is blowing up. Please go ahead and check that out. It is very, very awesome content over there. I've been your host, Slowpoke Felitos. I'm a full-time father, a part-time dingus, a Lego builder license holder, and the host of the Monday Nyquil Podcast Show. This has been a great episode here for season 4 of the Monday Nyquil Podcast Show. And that's it for us. LunasLore, thank you so much for being part of the show.
Luna out.
Adios, everybody.